So I wanted to start with the development of this new movie. Was there ever a point when you considered continuing this franchise in the anthology format, or did you always know that film number 2 was going to continue Ben and Zoey's story?
I wanted to do something radically different, to be honest. Initially, I wanted to do a villain origin story. I knew that I wanted to do a Zoey Ben revenge story, but I wanted to do sort of like a behind the scenes father-daughter like puzzle maker story. The problem is what I found was splitting that into 2 different storylines was just too much content, too much story to tell. It would have to be its own one-off as an anthology. And it was pushing up a boulder uphill, you know what I mean, to try to get that done. And I think, look, and you know, maybe down the line, what I also should say is, like, as much as the audience wants to know behind the scenes and who Minos is, the more you dramatize them, like even if you had Anthony Hopkins, it still lessens their mystique, and it's better to keep them veiled. And I think I had to learn that a bit the hard way. I'll put it that way. And then with this movie, I think the cool thing is, like, we expand the world. You know, the idea that it's not just that one game in Chicago that we saw in the first movie, it's happening all over the world, that your entire life is unreliable, that maybe you don't have agency over the choices you make. Like, I think after the pandemic in particular, like, we all feel that, like, maybe there's this supernatural force influencing our lives and taking things away from us. And so I think that's what I'm hoping that the audience will take away from it, this idea of free will and, you know, do we really have agency over our lives? So that I think is, and the sequel also has some cool twists that sort of reveal how draconian and screwed up Minos really is.
Oh, I want to get to some of that. But first, I wanted to revisit the idea of figuring out whether viewers want to watch people solve the puzzles in escape rooms versus actually participating in them themselves. Is there anything you learned from the audience reaction to film 1 that you found yourself using to create these new rooms in film 2?
You know, look, I'll be completely candid. This was really rushed, and I would have loved more time, because, like, one of the things that we've got from market research is that people really enjoy participating in the game. The problem with that premise is the pacing of a movie really suffers. If I'm cutting to a close-up of a clue and you're looking, no, go over there, you're ahead of the characters, right? And so it's that fine line of, like, you want that breakneck pace, but you also want to give these Easter eggs. So I don't know that I completely nailed it, because you know, it was definitely a fast and furious process, but it's tricky. You have to set up a very clear visual goal in each room. What's the threat? How does it kill you? How does the room work? You know, and in a typical escape room, you know, you have 5 or 6 people, and I find something. Hey, I found a doorknob, and yeah, I got this weird matchbook, and it's not linear, right? It's like, and then, oh, that thing you found 10 minutes ago. Oh yeah, that fits into here. Here in a movie, you can't do that. You got to keep the pacing. So it's much more linear in that sense. And I think that's the other thing that is tricky with these movies is, like, how do you keep the audience in the sort of moment to moment? Like, what's each goal? What are they looking for? Because it gets boring, you know, if somebody's just, like, looking through stuff, it like, you know, you're falling asleep, right? And and I think also because the rooms change so much and they're constantly transforming, like the beach starts like a beautiful Cape Cod beach, and by the end it's like this blue, you know, Technicolor kind of like dream world where it's collapsing in on itself. And so I think keeping the spaces constantly changing and unreliable is part of that as well.
Now I just want more and more and more. I am rooting for this one. You know how much I love the first one, and now I had a blast with this again. So Adam, huge congratulations to you, and hurry up and make number 3.
I so enjoyed talking with you on the first one, and thank you. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you.